I'd like to welcome Sander Maran, the director of Chainsaws Were Singing, an Estonian film that mixes gore, music, comedy, and a lot of other craziness. It's one of the films competing at the Fixion Fest, currently taking place here in Chile. Thank you, Sander, for being with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Sander, Chainsaws Were Singing, it's quite an experience. There's a lot of blood, splatter, comedy, and of course, musical moments. The film took 10 years in the making. Can you tell me why it took so long?
We actually shot the whole thing back in the summer and autumn of 2013. So the principal photography was like 11 years ago, and then I ended up spending like 10 years in post-production on it. It was never planned that way. We just didn't have any money, and there was so much work to be done with the genre. You know, we have to do all the musical numbers. You have to do all the sound. There's a lot of sound design in Chainsaws for singing, so that's why it took so long. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anyone try that themselves.
After a decade, how different is Chainsaws Were Singing from the movie that you originally envisioned?
It's I think it's better if I if I dare say so. We had some very childish stuff in the script. I mean, there's childish stuff in the film now as we speak, but throughout the years, I think we managed to cut out some of the stupid stuff. And you know, I matured a bit. I was 22 when we shot it. I'm currently speaking to I'm 34. Jesus. Um, but yeah, I'd say the film had a long time to sort of mature. So yeah, I don't know what more to say about that.
The style of the film is very reminiscent of the 70s exploitation cinema. Naturally, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes to mind, including some elements from the sequel as well. There are also
Mhm.
comedy elements that remind me Shaun of the Dead. And of
Oh
course,
yeah,
there's the musical aspect. How did this type of cinema influence in your work?
I think okay. So one of my all-time favorite films is Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. So and you can tell probably, and also the whole crew who put together this film. We all grew up watching South Park, and Cannibal the Musical was one of our all-time greatest influences. We the shooting title for Chainsaws Were Singing was actually Serial Killer the Musical, but we ended up changing it. And you know, I used to be a film buff. I don't have time to watch films. I think this year I've only watched like 10 films or something, which is embarrassing. But yeah, you can tell that there's a lot of influences there. The reason why, so this is my debut feature film, and you know how they always say that the first feature film should always be a horror film because if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's also good. And also, you know, there's a lot of Monty Python elements in the film. So I feel like we were just young and stupid, and we wanted to put a whole lot of dumb stuff in a film. So that's why there's car chases, and there's a there's a bukkake fridge, and there's cute animals and exploding cars. Um, but yeah, I think also there's a lot of movie references, but I don't say the Chainsaws is relying on them too much. I made it very important for myself that the film would feel original, even though there's also a lot of influences you can see there.
And why did you want to give the film a musical tone? Do you enjoy musicals?
Nobody likes musicals. I hate musicals. Most people hate musicals. And that's why but I do like the Monty Python Life of Brian. Always look on the bright side of life, and you know Trey Parker and Matt Stone have put out there. South Park's Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is one of the best movie musicals ever made. So that's why I have some affinity or love towards the good musicals, but I don't like the ones where they're dancing around. Chainsaws is definitely not that kind of musical. Also, I was young and stupid. I thought that putting musical numbers in a film would be easy and a cheap, quick way to achieve production value. Yeah, and then I couldn't find anyone to orchestrate the songs that I had written on the piano, and then I ended up having to do it myself after a couple of years, and it took me like 2 years to do all the musical orchestration for the film, which I had to learn from scratch. I had never done anything like that before. I don't know music theory or sheet. I can't write down the notes for the film, but I dabble in piano, so that's how we could make the film. But again, if there's people who don't like musicals, don't worry, we got you. It's not gonna annoy you.
In this film, there's a lot of stuff that was made by yourself. What was that filming process like? Tell me about this guerrilla-like style.
Yeah, I mean, we were all pretty much inexperienced filmmakers. We'd done a bunch of short films before, but for this feature, we didn't get any permits. We didn't apply for any funding. We basically didn't have a budget. It was just a bunch of bros and some friends hanging out in a forest and filming. I mean, we were kind of organized, but there was, yeah, it was just chaos. And we shot it with like the cheapest, crappiest video cameras you could find. I think it was Canon 60D, which I think in the western part of the world is Canon Rebel TX or something like that. And so the footage was awful, and that's why it ended up taking me like 2 hours to make the very uh, cheap video quality footage seem like a retro film. So there was like 30 different color correction layers, and yeah, it was a very harrowing process. But the shoot was kind of fun. The guy who's presented on the famous chainsaw Askill image is one of the producers. He ended up fracturing his shoulder with a stunt. But other than that, there were no major injuries.
How important was the use of practical and visual effects in establishing this tone?
I mean, it's always a marriage between the two. Nowadays, I would say it's almost stupid to not do anything with VFX, but meaning visual effects on a computer. But yeah, we just wanted to have fun. I recall Sam Raimi and I think Edgar Wright was talking about Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2, and just the amount of visual gimmicks and gags and just physical humor you can get out of just having fun with, putting someone's head through a table, which is in our film. And yeah, it was just a bunch of inventing. The we had done some blood gore effects before, so we sort of took that to another level, and yeah, we didn't plan on using that much VFX, and I think it doesn't. I think it's a successful balance between the two in the film. Did that answer the question?
Of course, yeah.
I have to say props to the Chainsaw Askill guy. He did most of the blood and gore effects. He's the guy on the Chainsaw Askill image.
We are here in Chile. We are not used to see movies from Estonia. Um, how is cinema there? How different is your movie from the films that are already made there?
I mean, I'd say back when we started shooting this thing, I'd say that Estonian cinema was mostly just boring art house dramas that nobody wants to see, and some national heritage films. But now, throughout the years, I think there's been a horror movie being made here, Highway to Hell, and there's some genre films cooking up, but mostly we were the Estonian audience is still kind of in shock as to what the hell we did with this film because it's definitely not normal. In Estonia, most films are national funded, and that's why they're sort of, I'd say, safe to watch. And so I think that's why we're currently doing our Estonian cinematic run, by the way.
Right.
And yeah, there's been some funny backlash.
That's cool. And what are your plans after Chainsaws were singing? will you continue exploring this unique style, or are you thinking about something entirely different?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I can even make another movie after this.
Okay.
I need a long year of resting, I think, because, for 10 years, I was basically um, running a marathon, thinking that once we finish it, then I can finally get some rest. And then this year, with the release, it's been so much to do with all the festivals and the promotion materials and stuff that I can't even think in the terms of making another movie. I know there's a very cool film showing also in Fixion Fest, yeah. It's called Vampire Zombies from Space,
Yeah.
and it's I think it's showing today by
Yes,
your time.
today.
So yeah, I'd recommend everybody take check that out because yeah, I met the producer and multiple times actor in the film, Jacob Scripa in Fantasia, and we hit it off. We've become great friends. There's even a chance that our next project is going to be some sort of co-production between him. So it's
Oh,
very cool seeing vampire zombies from space sort of traveling the same festivals.
great, awesome. And finally, please invite people here from Chile to watch Chainsaws Were Singing at Fixion Fest.
Yeah, people of Chile, you have to see this film. I'm not just saying that this because I wasted like 10 years of my life, actually 11 years of my life on it, but I truly love genre cinema, and I'll take good care of you. This film is gonna rock. It's gonna be funny, and it's gonna be disturbing, and there's actually some pretty decent musical numbers in it, if I dare say so. So I think you're gonna have a blast. Definitely check out Chainsaws Were Singing, and also definitely check out Vampire Zombies from Space.
Sanders Maran, thank you for your time. We send you a lot of
Yeah.
blessings, and we hope we can talk
Yeah,
again soon.
yeah, that's so cool. Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, this was nice.
Bye bye. Take care.